Today, we are going to be talking about data tracking. And so I want you guys to know that we hold these sessions every single month, and I would love to hear from you guys what you're wanting to talk about, what you're wanting to hear about. If you have questions about something, it would be amazing to know. So that way, I am definitely putting this material together for you. And if there's anything that I don't know about, I will likely have like a guest speaker come in and talk to you guys about whatever it is. So that way, you can get the information that you want for your business. So today we will talk about financial tracking and social media tracking. So that way, whatever you're doing in your business, we can figure out if it's working or if it's not. Because if you're setting goals, but you don't know how much money you made that month, then how are you going to know if you hit your goal? So I think that goals are really important to go ahead and set, but not be really hard on yourself whatever you don't achieve them, but of course celebrate when you do achieve them and still celebrate that you even met a certain milestone in your business. And so we will go ahead and get started with the presentation. So data tracking, and that is going to be our business strategy for March. So the first thing we're going to talk about is financial tracking and the stress-free way to prepare for your taxes. And this is going to be very high level. I am not an accountant. If you need advice from an accountant, definitely go and see an accountant to get your questions answered, whether it be about sales tax or whatever it might be. Because I definitely don't know much about sales tax. I've really only ever sold services, not products. And then we're going to talk about how to track your money easily, and we're going to talk about whether you're more of a digital person or more of a paper person. I happen to be a little bit of both. I love paper, and I typically will write pretty much everything, like my schedule and all of that, for the days on paper, and I have a Google Calendar as well. And then what the key metrics to track are, so you can see if you're hitting your goals, and then that will lead us into the social media tracking and why social media metrics matter, and then platform specific metrics. And I have a surprise for you guys at the end that talks about the platform specific ones. So, and then how to track your social media data. So I'm really excited for the end of this presentation for sure to show you guys what I created for you. So as far as financial tracking goes, we want to definitely separate your business and your personal finances. And I know a lot of people might be like, well, duh, right? But there are so many things that you guys could possibly write off that you might not be taking advantage of. So you want to make sure that you are keeping track separately, but use your business card when you think it's something that you could possibly write off. And again, this would be a really great list of things to get from your accountant, or maybe even, which one of my favorite tools, right? Go to ChatGPT and say, what are all the things I could possibly write off for my business as far as in taxes? And then make that list, and then always use your business card whenever you're doing that stuff, because this is another way to basically pay yourself a little bit more without feeling like you're really just taking a full paycheck. So open a dedicated business bank account and business credit card to avoid mixing personal expenses with business ones. This makes tracking income and expenses much easier when tax season rolls around. So the idea here is like I have a Southwest business credit card. So that way, whenever I use that, it always will go towards the business expenses and I get miles. And a lot of my traveling, I'm able to write off because I will be doing something for my business while I'm traveling. So definitely important to have a separate bank account. And I know here, at least in the state of Missouri, you have to have like your LLC paperwork, or if you're a sole proprietorship, you will have to have paperwork on that as well. And then you will be able to open up a business account and make sure that you apply for your EIN through the federal as well. And then take that step to the bank, and it should be pretty simple to go ahead and set up a bank account that is just for business. This will make it so much easier at the end of the year. So the second part of this is use an accounting tool or spreadsheet. So basically we have like, there's so many different options with software. Wave is my absolute favorite. It used to be completely free, and now it is a small monthly cost, but I think there is still a free version, or either that or I'm grandfathered in. I'm not sure on that. QuickBooks, I do not like QuickBooks personally, but you can actually just put this in a spreadsheet as well. So I have created for you guys a template for logging your expenses that you can print out. And if you are a paper person, you can absolutely just write them down. And then you can put them into software if you want to at the end of the year, or you can have them in software. So the cool thing about Wave is that whenever I go into Wave, I can actually it pulls in from my bank account all the transactions, and then I just label them whatever, or categorize them, I should say, whatever it is coming out of. If it's office supplies, or if it's advertising, or if it's computer software, you can put all of your different categories in there, so that way you can be a little bit more organized, right? So you want to make sure that you are going to be keeping track for the end of the year. And what I do is typically make sure that I'm on track once a month. If you're really, really looking closely at your goals, I would say maybe do it once a week, once every 2 weeks. And if you have like this big goal for the end of the year, make sure that how much do I need to make a month then? How much do I need to make every 2 weeks? How much do I need to make a week? How much do I need to make every single day? And like I said, don't focus so much on this, but focus on the fact that you are gaining in your business, right? That you are getting better at doing all of this. So Wave is definitely my favorite. Like I said, categorize your expenses properly. So make sure that you are putting office supplies, travel, advertising, so you can maximize your deductions without scrambling later on. If you have an accountant that does your taxes, then you definitely want to have these exact numbers labeled as to what the type of expenses are. So then always save your receipts and document everything. So you can use a scanning app like Expensify or Wave. So you take a picture of it and it actually puts it into the platform for you. So that way you can throw away that receipt, right? So that way you can digitally store them and you won't have to have this huge drawer like I do of receipts from 2024. So track your mileage for business trips, home office expenses, and other deductible costs. So again, make sure you make that list and you are deducting everything you possibly can. If you have a home office, a lot of times you can itemize this and make sure that it gets written off, and it will actually ask you about like what's your electric bill. It will ask you all of the different bills that go into keeping your office maintained, even though it's like 10% of your house or whatever. And your accountant should definitely be doing that stuff for you. So always set aside money for your taxes. If you guys have been in business a little while, you know that quarterly taxes are the best way to go. So that way you don't have to pay a huge lump sum at the end of the year and pay penalties as well. So always save 25 to 30% of your income for taxes in a separate account, so you're not hit with a big surprise later. So my suggestion would be to go to your bank and open up another account that maybe even automatically, if you make a certain amount every week, but if you're service-based, a lot of times you won't make a certain amount, but make sure that you're taking that 25 to 30% out and putting it in a separate account, so that way you're prepared at the end of the year. I learned this the hard way when I had a huge tax bill at the end of the year. So review monthly and don't wait until tax time. So like I said, maybe do it once a month, or if you're really focusing on your goals, you can do it even more often than that. So you don't have to panic at the end of the year. And make sure that you're reconciling your bank statements with what's showing up in your software. And that way you know that everything is accurate. So more financial tracking. Okay, so basically these are your metrics. So know your numbers. So your revenue is your total income before your expenses. Your profit margin is net income after your expenses. So you want to make sure that you know how much money you're making. So for like Stephanie on a facial, because she has to use certain products, right? How much did those products cost you? Those will be your expenses, and then your profit divided by your revenue will be your profit margin. So then you have your cash flow, so money moving in and out. So positive equals good, negative equals warning, right? If you hear people say, are you in the red? Are you in the black, right? So then you have your operating expenses. So these are your monthly costs to run your business. So again, make sure that these are expenses that you can write off. And then customer acquisition cost. How much do you spend to get a new customer? So this would be somebody that is running ads or like maybe if you're paying for networking, right? How much does it cost you to actually get that customer into your chair? So sometimes these are a little difficult to figure out if you're not running ads or spending direct money on your business in that fashion. Lifetime value is so, so, so important. So this is the total revenue a customer brings over a lifetime. So basically, you have a way to figure this out. So whenever somebody comes to your business, then you can see how much you're going to charge them on a monthly or yearly basis. So for instance, I have software that I charge $99 a month for. And on average, this is the number you have to figure out. On average, how many years or months does somebody stay with me? Well, that's going to become the lifetime value of my customer. And a lot of times this is a lot bigger, especially if you have that kind of passive income setup where you're doing monthly things or a subscription type service. Then it's going to be a lot bigger whenever you have that lifetime value of the customer is going to be a lot bigger than the one-time charge that you charge them. And then accounts receivable, so money owed to you, so unpaid invoices. That is super, super important. I know in my business, a lot of times I end up having to go back and look once a month or so just to make sure I don't have those unpaid invoices. So make sure that you are tracking all of these things. So marketing and social media metrics. So what is working? That is the whole reason to track these numbers, is so you know what's working and what's not, and you are not wasting your precious time on doing things that aren't working. So as far as engagement rate goes, we're going to measure likes, comments, shares, and the reach. Okay. So then what is your follower growth? Are your social accounts actually growing? That is one of the hardest things to do without spending money these days and running the ads, but you can actually run ads on any of the platforms. Maybe it's boosting a social post on Facebook or Instagram. And then on TikTok, it's actually very reasonable. I've been able to boost my my TikTok videos for about $25, and I've gotten like 6,000 to 7,000 views that I would not have gotten to begin with. So again, social media is so much for just brand recognition and getting people to see you and then eventually trust, know, like, and trust you, right? So that way they are purchasing from you. And then website traffic. How many people visit your website? Make sure that you have Google Analytics on your site, and make sure you have a Google business page as well. Those are really, really great analytics to track. And then conversion rate. What percentage of your visitors who actually take action, do they sign up? Do they buy? Do they call you? What is going on there? So there's another way to do that too, is setting up a Facebook pixel on your website as well. So that way you can track what is the conversion rate based on who's coming from social media. And that will be for Facebook and Instagram as for the Facebook pixel. So then you have your email open and click-through rates. So who's actually reading and clicking on your emails? You really want to pay attention to this because you would want to segment your list if you haven't done so already. So you want to say, okay, who's opening my emails? Who's actually paying attention to me? If they're not opening them, then you might want to eventually take them off of your list so you're not sending out emails that are just never going to be open. So your open rate will actually get a lot better. So an average email open rate is only about 20%. So if you are above that, it's amazing. The average click-through rate, I believe, is only like 1 to 2%. And so you definitely want to be in that or higher as well. So this is another one of those things. You really want to pay attention to see what people are clicking on, what they're doing, so that way you can do more of that and focus your time and energy there. So as far as your ad goes, so your paid ads, are they making you more money than they're costing you, right? It kind of goes back to that customer acquisition number. How much does it cost for you to get a customer? So that way you can figure out what your return on investment for that customer is in your ads. So then you have your sales and business growth metrics. So basically, the lead to customer rate, percentage of leads that turn into paying customers. And then customer retention rate, how many customers keep coming back to you? Your past customers are your best referral sources, and they are your best new customers as well. And then what is the average order value? How much each customer spends with you, right? This is such a great number to know, so you can actually project for the future as well. And then what is your churn rate? So this is the percentage of customers who stop buying or unsubscribe, okay? And then the time to close a sale. Let Stephanie back in here. And then the time to close a sale. How long is it from your first contact with this person to when they actually pay you for your services? These are all such good things to keep track of and just be aware of. So that way, when you're setting goals, they actually make sense. I mean, I am definitely one to love, a big, hairy, audacious goal, but at the same time, you want it to really feel good in your body too, whenever you're setting them. So the more that you're tracking, the better. All right, so predict productivity and time metrics. So time spent on revenue generating tasks. Are you working on the right things? This is kind of why we track the data, right? We want to make sure that you're working on the things that are working in your business and not on the things that you're not. I would say the two best things that you can do that are practically free are social media and your email marketing. Those are the two things that you can do marketing wise that are going to propel your business forward. You definitely want to be asking for reviews as well. And if you do not have a Google business page, if I say things multiple times, that means it's super important. If you do not have a Google business page that you are getting reviews on, that is always my number one suggestion for people, even if they don't have a website. So that is very, very important because what do? We Google stuff all day long. If I'm looking for an esthetician near me, where am I going to go? I'm going to go to Google, or I'm going to go to Google Maps, or I'm going to go to Apple Maps, one of those things, to be able to find somebody in my area to be able to do the services that I am looking for. And then what is the cost per hour of your work? What is your time actually worth? I think so many times people undervalue what their time is actually worth, and make sure that your prices reflect this. And I know I've been asked a lot, well, how do I know how much I should charge? Well, I'm a very intuitive, like spiritual person. So I'm going to say, well, ask your soul, right? Like what first comes up for you whenever you want to figure out your pricing? What's the first number? The very first one that comes up is the one you should probably go with. And you can always set like intro prices for new services or whatever to get more customers. And then that gives a little bit of the idea of like time, and you're making sure that they feel like they might be missing out on something if they don't get in within a certain time. All right, so that was the financial tracking, which we're going to talk a little bit more about here in just a minute, but we're going to run through this social tracking as well. So basically identifying what works. So this helps you see which posts drive engagements, leads, and sales. So you definitely want the interaction. That's what we're looking for on social media. We want a call to action on every single post. Call here, book now, read more, comment below, whatever it may be. You want to have that CTA, is what we call them in the marketing world. You want to have that on every single post that you have. And then what saves you time and effort? So focus on content that performs well instead of just guessing. That's why we're tracking, guys, is to make sure that you are putting more of what's working out and less of what's not. I always tell people, and we have a whole nother social media course as well that is inside of the groups that you guys are in, that will go into like basically the demographics and making sure that you're posting on the right platforms and that your posts are going to be seen. Lives are always going to be best. And then you have right behind that, you have stories and reels. The younger crowd actually likes stories better, I believe. And reels are going to be next. And then just static social media posts are going to be best after that. So, of course, your videos are going to be the best. And then so the reels and the stories are typically videos. And then just the regular post is typically just an image or a couple of different images. And Instagram actually has like image carousels. So you can put 4 or 5 images inside of one post that people just kind of click through. Those are actually really cool too. And then what improves your audience targeting. So understand who engages most and adjust your strategy. I know that every single social media post that I have, there's certain people that comment, that share it, all of that. And so basically just understand who those people are, and ask them to share it with their friends as well. Just make sure that you're really trying to engage new people as well as current customers. But your current customers, again, in this fashion, will be your best advocates. And then boosting engagement. So learn what type of content sparks conversations and shares. So shares are going to be how you get more customers because they're sharing it with their audience. So these people hopefully will come to your page and they will like and follow you if you're putting out information that is really valuable. That's what we want to be doing. We want to be adding value in every social media post. Okay. And then track your followers growth. So see if your audience is expanding or if it is stagnant. And then measure your ROI on ads. So know if your paid promotions are actually working. All right. So basically here too, with more social media tracking, so that what optimizes your posting schedule. So find the best times and days to post for maximum reach. So it is actually super interesting, like Facebook, Instagram, of course, LinkedIn because it's business, but they're going to actually be during the week. I've always thought, well, that's so weird that if you're going to skip a day of the week to post, skip Sunday because Sunday is the worst day to post, which I find so intriguing that people are actually searching on social media and scrolling while they're at work instead of on the weekends while they're not at work. So there's actually in that last video, there's times that it shows the best days and times to post, like YouTube. Thursday and Friday afternoon from 3 to 4 o'clock are the best times to post on YouTube. So that's when you want to post your videos. And shorts are amazing right now because YouTube is trying to be like TikTok. And so people are scrolling through those short videos and they like really quick, easy access to different things. So you can take these big videos, and I use a software called Opus Clips, and you can take these longer videos and it cuts them up into shorter form videos, and then you can just post them onto YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram for stories or reels. So, and then what helps with your budgeting? So, allocate marketing spending based on your performance insights. Again, so if you're paying a marketing company, make sure that if your marketing budget is 10%, that 10% is actually getting you 10% more business. We really want it to be like 100% more business or, whatever your number is. But make sure you know those numbers so you know that your marketing dollars are being spent correctly. And one of the biggest things I've seen with people hiring marketing companies is that they don't actually know what they're doing for them. Okay, so if you're giving somebody money, you absolutely should know what they are doing for you. And you should know what they're doing for you on a monthly basis, a weekly basis. And so that way you really are able to track that how much you're budgeting for that. So, and then showing your competitor insights. So compare your metrics to industry standards. There are different ways to do this. You can actually even, again, ChatGPT is your best friend whenever it comes to these type of things. There's actually a thing called Google Trends as well that you can go to and compare against your competitors for different things on your website and social media as well. So, and then guides for content creation. Create more of what resonates and less of what flops. Kind of goes back to the whole reason why we're tracking all of this data. So each platform has its own strengths and tracking the right metrics helps you. So this improves engagement by posting content people actually interact with, grow strategically by doubling down on what works, and monetize effectively by tracking what leads to conversions. So even if you're not running ads, you still want to pay attention to if you're in a Facebook group and somebody tags you, because I know I've actually tagged Stephanie before as, an amazing esthetician, love spending time with her, love getting my facial, all that kind of stuff. It's like what actually leads to conversions? Are you answering those? Are you saying, hey, thanks so much for doing this? And, tag the person and thank them. But also, you could even private message the person that put the post out that's looking for the esthetician. So make sure that you are following up. That is one of the biggest mistakes you can make if you're not networking or if you're networking and not following up. Totally been guilty of that myself. So definitely no judgment here. All right, so I'm going to show you how to basically track your social media data with a spreadsheet. And then there is actually link tracking for software as well. So this spreadsheet is going to have it has separate pages for each of the different social platforms. Can you guys see this? Yeah, okay. So we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, and you can see that they have different things at the top here. So YouTube, LinkedIn, and then my last thing that I got to show you guys is super cool. So we have Facebook here, and we're going to put in the date of the post. Okay. And then here we are going to put the post caption. So what I have created for you guys here at the end of this is ChatGPT prompts to get the best social media posts. And so basically here at the very beginning of your ChatGPT, if it doesn't know about your business already, we're going to put in, ask me 10 key questions about my business. And it will likely be something like some of these. If you like these particular questions, tell ChatGPT the answers to these. So you can actually put them directly in this spreadsheet. You could write your answers, right after this, and then you could put it into ChatGPT and tell it, I'm just telling you more about my business. So that's the whole idea, right? Is we want ChatGPT to know you so well. And that way it can basically give you posts that really will resonate with your customers, and they'll really resonate with you as well. So, and there's another option called Perplexity that is really good too if you don't really like ChatGPT. So you can try either one of those. They both have free versions, and you can definitely do all of this within the free version. It might not be quite as fast, and you might not get quite as good results if you have the free version, but it's definitely okay for what we're doing here. And then, so do you know everything you need to know to create social posts for me for 30 days? Ask ChatGPT that. It might spit you out a couple more questions, but it might say, yes, I already know. And it might even give you the social media posts. But the best idea here with, ChatGPT or Perplexity, whatever AI tool you're using, is that if you don't like what it spits out, just give it another prompt. Say, you know what? I don't really like that. Could you please, always use please, just kidding. But you want to make sure that in ChatGPT or your AI tool that you are making it to where you like what it's saying. You can even say, use my voice. And if you want to know more about my voice, ask me questions about me so you know more about my voice. ChatGPT knows that I love witty things, and it knows that I am very, like, just kind of like a professional casual, and it knows to write in my voice. So I tell it, make sure you write these in my tone of voice. And then the next input that you can do is create me 30 social media captions for posts for certain platforms. You have to put that in there using 5 relevant popular hashtags, a couple emojis, and put it in a spreadsheet format. Okay, so this is where you can actually, so you'll want to make a copy of this, the social media, oh my gosh, I can't talk, social media tracking sheet. So that way you can use this in your business as well, because it won't let you edit it from here, but you just go here, click file, and make a copy, and it'll put it right in your Google Drive. Okay, so then it'll spit out your spreadsheet. And my suggestion to you here is that you come back over to Facebook and you put that caption right inside here. So you have it for your later on, whenever you know what you did. And then you can actually link directly to your post from Facebook or any of the other sheets that you see at the bottom of this page. And then the reach that it had for that time, like for the whole time that post has been alive. And then you'll put in here how many likes, comments, and shares, and then your page views. And guys, this might seem like a ton of work, but if you can get to the point where you track it, even for a couple of months, you're going to know what works and what doesn't. And then if you start noticing things not working again, just do it again. You don't have to do this every single week or every single month, but it is really, really good to keep track of what is working and what's not, so you're not wasting your time. So that this time is actually precious that you're using doing this as well. And then put your followers, and then how many people clicked on it, and then your video views, watch time, and then your notes. So these are all available inside of each platform. On your phone, you're going to have to do it for Instagram. On Facebook, you can do it on your phone, or you can do it on your desktop. And then TikTok, definitely your phone, that you'll want to track all of that. And then YouTube, you can use your phone or your desktop to track it. YouTube's pretty easy to track. And again, ChatGPT is your best friend. If you don't know how to do this, or if you even Google, how do I look at my insights for Instagram, it will give you exact directions on how to do it. Whether you Google it or that very first thing that pops up, which is AI, it's actually Gemini. So their tool is when you first do that at the very top, it'll give you those exact directions. Because like one of my clients call me and they're like, how do I do this? I literally Google it so that way I can send them specific directions instead of it trying to come from my brain. So then LinkedIn, you can track them as well. And then make sure that you are posting on, I would really just choose 1 to 2 platforms and see what's working there as well. So if you've got, like, say you're posting on all of these platforms, and then you can see with this tracking that YouTube is working the absolute best for you, just keep doing YouTube. Don't even do anything else. So I would say 1 to 2. It's super easy to, do Facebook and Instagram though, because they are so synchronous as far as them going back and forth between the two. Or if you have a scheduling, like if you're on my WebWorks 3.0 platform and you have scheduling and it's super easy to post to all of them, post to all of them. But if it's not easy, don't do it. So that's what I'm here for. I want to make your guys' life as easy as possible whenever you are doing, your financial tracking or your social media tracking. So as far as this goes, you can see here, like I said, you have your date, you have your post caption, your link, story views, and then make sure on Instagram that you are posting to like story, reels, and posts. I wouldn't focus so much on doing just one of those, but I would focus on kind of doing all of them, see what works, and then keep doing whatever's working. And so you can track all of these. So this spreadsheet, you guys will have a link to it the right inside of this presentation, and it will also be linked to inside of either Ascend or inside of Personal Creation as well. All right. Okay. So then we have the tracking software. So these actually, you can sign up for an account like this with Later. It's about, I think it was like 16 something a month if you want to have all of this tracking for you in one place. So if you are in WebWorks 3.0, there is tracking under marketing and then social. There is tracking in there as well, but this is going to give you a little bit more detail than WebWorks 3.0 is, especially if you're not on a scheduling platform. So it will actually let you do 9 different profiles out of all of these, and then you can schedule up to 30 posts per profile. And then you can have one link in your bio page, just one user. So this is a really great way to spend your money and have all of the tracking and scheduling all in one place. So that is, if you're not using WebWorks 3.0, I would hate for you to come here and purchase Later if you're already paying for, our software. So, and we can definitely show you how to utilize that better if you don't know how to do that currently. Okay. So as far as the presentation goes, it's like the whole idea with the financial tracking is what you got to decide, right? If you want to be a paper person or if you want to be a digital person. So I would go here to Wave. It's Wave Apps is my very, very favorite. And you can actually see, we'll click on the pricing so you guys can see how much it is. So yeah, they still do have a $0 one, but you can see it's kind of limited what you can do. And then it's $16 a month for the pro plan to be able to track what you're doing inside of there. I absolutely love it. It is so easy to use and literally connect my bank account and it puts all my transactions in. It'll actually connect your bank account. It'll connect if you do have that business credit card, it'll connect that as well. So that way you have all your expenses in one place. And it is just absolutely by far my favorite. I used QuickBooks and I literally checked out so quickly because I did not like it. And depending on what you're using, just make sure that your reporting is really good for tax purposes at the end of the year. So even if you are a paper person and you would rather write it down, my suggestion would be to go ahead and write it down, kind of like our old transactions, like registers whenever we wrote checks. And, whenever you did that, you actually wrote it down and it makes it a little bit more free in your mind of like what's happening instead of what I do, right? Which is all digital. I don't do any paper whenever it comes to this, but it will keep it a little bit more top of mind as what your expenses are. But the thing is, if you use paper, you can't just hand your accountant paper. They're probably going to charge you $1,000 to do your taxes. So you want to have that paper at the end of the year or at the end of the month and put it into some sort of spreadsheet, whether that is literally just a Google spreadsheet or whatever that is. At the end of the year, you want to make, or at the end of the month, so that way you have 12, right? So you're not doing it all at the end of the year. You have it already input into some sort of system. And it is just as easy as creating a, expenses and then what category they're in inside of a spreadsheet, or, and then obviously the expense, but you want to put your profit in there as well. So I would just do a couple different sheets in Google Docs if you don't want to use a software like this. I am a very, very much an easy person when it comes to software. It is a no-brainer for me to spend money on software that is amazing because it makes my life so much easier. So the other option that you guys will have inside of either Ascend or Personal Creation will be this income tracker. So I created this for you based on what you would actually could take this and say, okay, I'm going to use this paper income tracker, but I'm also going to put it in a spreadsheet. So I would create these exact same things and put those into a Google spreadsheet. That way you have your date, your income, and I wouldn't put one by one, right? Like if you're like Stephanie's an esthetician, if she has 6 clients in one day, I would put the total amount of income that she made that day. All right. And then you would have your date of your expense, your category, and your amount if you're doing it paper wise. And again, if you're doing it paper, make sure that you're keeping your receipts. And Wave actually has a receipt tracker that you can download on your phone. Just snap a picture and you can throw them away. So, and just really pay attention to what your accountant says as well. If your accountant is like, no, don't throw away the receipts, keep them somewhere safe still, do that. Do whatever they say. And so basically we created this so that way you could figure out what your January profit is. So your income minus your expenses will be your profit. And then your goal. We're going to set a goal. Guys, I had a woman come to me that said, I asked her, well, how much do you make a month? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, well, how can you set a goal if you don't know how much money you're making every single month? And don't be ashamed if that's you. It happens to all of us, right? That for a long time I didn't know how much money I was making every month. So basically, we're setting a January goal, and then was it achieved? Yes or no? And then celebrate it. Write something on this line that you want to do to celebrate yourself. Maybe it's a nice dinner, maybe it's a pedicure, maybe it's a facial, whatever it is, celebrate whenever you hit those goals. And if you got close, still celebrate, because the whole idea behind not hitting your goals is this limited mindset, right? So we want to make sure that we're believing that we can achieve it. So for that instance, it's like we talk about, like in personal creation, of course, we talk about our self-identity. So make sure that your self-identity is aligning with who you want to become, how you're setting your goals. So your goal is set in this future mindset of being able to step into making 10K, 20K, 50K, whatever it is a month. And you want to make sure that you're aligning that way. Make sure you're showing up that way, dress that way, talk that way. Make sure that you are really doing the things. And one of the things that I love that's in one of the programs I'm in right now is that what would a millionaire do? And do the things that a millionaire would do. Make choices from the millionaire mindset. Don't make choices from your limited mindset, right? If you're wanting to spend a little bit more on okay, for instance, if you're like, oh, I just really can't afford Wave. I can't afford that software tracking. Okay. Would a millionaire be able to afford $16 a month? Absolutely. Make that choice. Whatever that choice is for you. That might not be the exact right thing that's, relevant to you right now. But make sure that you're paying for the things that really work. I've had so many people ask me so many times, should I pay for the professional version of Canva so I can post on social media? My answer almost always is yes, because whatever is going to make your life easier, and if you can cut your posting on social media time in half or a quarter with Canva and being able to schedule your posts directly inside Canva, or whatever feature it is that you really like inside of there, absolutely do the things that make your life easier and operate from that millionaire mindset. Okay, so this basically just goes through every single month, and you guys can print those out and you can do them for the rest of the year if you're wanting to use paper. And like I said, the other option is to go ahead and use Wave. And inside of Wave, you can mark your transactions with those different categories and just make sure you're doing that, once a month or so. So, do you guys have any questions on any of the other like financial data tracking or the social media tracking? And if you have any questions based on about like the other program, just schedule a strategy call with me because the programs kind of feed into each other. It's like, and both programs are definitely like my sole mission in this life. So the Ascend program is for coaches and it's for anybody that wants to create an online presence that really wants to get their message out into the world. So even if you don't consider yourself a coach, which is a lot of people, they're like, oh, I don't like that word. I don't want to be a coach. And I've been there many, many times. But it's for people that want to get their message out into the world and they don't know how to do all the technology behind it. So we have, I think, 6 people inside of Ascend, soon to be 7. And then we have a couple of people in personal creation, and personal creation is more, okay, I'm feeling a little stuck and I don't know how to get my business to move forward, or maybe I don't even know the next step in my career or my life. And so we go through for an entire year, we get to spend that time together and be able to figure out, what are your limiting beliefs? How do we create more awareness? How do we do inner child healing? And there's so many things inside of personal creation that have come, like, been birthed out of the last 14 years of my personal development journey. So both of them really lead into each other because I think the people from Ascend, the coaches, a lot of times they get stuck too, right? And so they'll have to come over and do some of that spiritual, amazing healing growth work. And then the other way around too, the people in personal creation are like, oh, now I want to start a business because I have a message to give to the world. They really are realizing their purpose in life and they're able to step into that. And that's what Ascend will help them do that. Okay, so yeah, Stephanie says, still interested in Ascend eventually too, loving personal creation. Yeah, and I think too, it's like, definitely one thing at a time, right? I think that probably by the end of personal creation, you'll definitely be ready for Ascend, if not before that. But there's definitely no rush, and there's so much information in both of those. So make sure that you're looking at the things that are going on in the community. These events are once a month. So every single month we have networking. Every single month we have these business strategy sessions. Every month we have live master classes that are open to anybody. So you're definitely able to share those with any of your family and friends. And then there is a monthly Q&A session that you can bring all your questions, whether it's business, whether it's personal, spiritual. I would love to answer them if I can. And if not, I will definitely figure it out for you or we'll figure it out together. So I definitely want you guys to be using those communities. And there's people in there, right? Like today we talked about finances. There's a woman in personal creation right now that is a financial coach. That's what she does. So she knows how to track all of this and she knows how to get your mindset right as well. So make sure you're kind of checking out the other people in the groups so that way you can utilize their services and they can utilize yours. Because I can promise you guys, I am attracting a lot of really like-minded people right now. And so if you guys are like-minded with me and you can relate with me, that means you're probably going to be able to relate to them as well. And I do a lot of networking. And so there will be a lot of people coming in and out of these calls that someday they might join Ascend. Someday they might join personal creation. Who knows? So I definitely want you guys to be getting the most out of those communities and just really utilizing them because there's a whole learning section as well. And I am so excited to launch this new branding course that I'm creating. It is the workbook is almost done, and then we got to record the videos, and then we will give it to you guys, of course, for free inside of Ascend and personal creation. It will be it will cost for people that aren't inside of either of these communities, but it will only be $99 for the course, and the course is going to be super, super beneficial, and it is going to have AI built into it. So it is going to be really, really cool. So that way you're able to really define your brand and your mission, your vision, your values, and all of that. So really, really excited to bring that to you guys. But there are also other courses inside of there. There's a social media strategy course inside of Ascend. And then inside of personal creation, there's one called Laws of Success. Believe and you will achieve. It is amazing. It is an amazing spiritual journey. And they all have workbooks. And there's new things launched every single month inside of both communities. So I'm just really excited to kind of bring you guys my knowledge, and then you guys can turn it and take the knowledge and turn it into wisdom as well. So you're so welcome, Stephanie. I think you're amazing as well, and I'm super excited to come get my facial on Tuesday. So just really supporting these other business owners inside of these groups is really important. So thank you guys so much for showing up.